Hi there, intrepid viewers. Lena Rodriguez coming to you from the dreadful Australia. We creamed all the other nations for being so bad at climate change. So those of you who follow these things will know that our Prime Minister, Scotty from Marketing, didn't want to go to Glasgow. Of course he didn't want to go because he doesn't believe in climate change. So probably they had to sedate him to get him on the plane. And then the whole world got to see what a screaming idiot he is, you know. He's dreadful. So I grew up in a coal mining state. You know, we were taught to believe that coal was the next thing to God. But it isn't like that anymore. You know, mining towns used to get rich, but now mines, automated trucks and all of that, they only employ a few hundred miners. They're FIFOs, as they're called, fly in, fly out. All their money spent in the camp compound, franchise food. So, you know, McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken do really well. And the towns don't get any benefit. So on every level, mining is over on the scale that we got used to it being. You know, it just can't, it's not sustainable in any way. Right? There was Scotty from Marketing holding the line. Oh, I mean, really. Now, this video's a couple of days late because I went and visited a nephew on an island and didn't have Wi-Fi. But I knew you were all right because just as I left, the warrant went out for Bannon's arrest. Why haven't they arrested him, by the way? You or I could find him, you know. But moving on, Mark Meadows is coming under the microscope, and rightly so, as Chief of Staff for the Yeti. So I'm going to have a quick look at him. I'm then going to have a look at Ivanka Jared. In other news, in Texas, I love this. There's billboards apparently have gone up in Texas saying Trump lost. You know, let's just spell it out. You know, so that's awesome in Texas. I'm sure it's not everywhere, but I'm glad that some of them went up. And yeah, there was something else in Texas. Oh yeah, a viewer wrote in because a few of you have commented on that legal ruling. I think it was a couple of years ago now that corporations are people. And this viewer said, I'll believe corporations are people when Texas executes one. Love that. So let's look at the sniveling craven satanic Mark Meadows. General Flynn. Oh, I must do something on General Flynn too, but focus, Lena, on Mark Meadows. Because he's up there with Jim Jordan as being in the cheer squad. Doesn't look good in a short skirt. Look. What's happening here with Mark Meadows? Mark Meadows. All right. It's supposed to be summer here. I'm in a polar neck. It's freezing. Here we go. What's going to happen with Mark Meadows? Well, you know, this is light on for revelations, intrepid viewers. He sees himself, I almost want to say, as an extension of Trump. It's kind of that weird. I think that's the only thing that surprised me about this spread was how close he is. I think a lot of them aren't really convinced by the Yeti, but they're in it for their own reasons or because they're afraid of their base or, you know, that's where they think the power lies. But he's very emotionally caught up with the emperor, and he's actually got worse. Now there's a claim to fame. He's gone from being the cautious knight to the impulsive knight. And he lives in the past. I think in this case, it's not just the intergenerational past, it's the past when the emperor ruled. Because I think this has happened with quite a few of these people. If you just hang in an echo chamber and everyone thinks that this guy's normal when he's not, I think he's bought it and swallowed the biscuit, like lives in the past. So what's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to him? That's giving us the landscape. So what's going to happen to Mark Meadows? Look, it always with these guys comes back to the money, doesn't it? I pull 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, and that would be all pentacles, all about the money. So the dark money, this is him being instrumental. I don't think of him as one of the high-powered money guys, but there's more to this. He's done more. Look, this is to a certain extent the paperwork behind the scenes, covering up the money for January 6th. I think he knew who paid for the buses or paid for this or paid for that. I think this is what could get him in the end. And the Queen of Pentacles, this is often my Nancy Pelosi card, but I think this is symbolic of someone in the legal world who's going to trace that money on Mark Meadows. Right. Now, let me have a little look here because Ivanka and Jared have been very quiet, have they not? So I'm moving to the Toth deck, which I say for special occasions and special people. Can you hear the birds? They're going off, the poor little things. It's meant to be spring, and they're meant to be doing their little bird things for spring. And I think they're thinking, why am I in Antarctica? I'm not meant to be this cold. Hope they're not losing their little feathers. Oh, bless. So let's have a look at Ivanka and Jared. Ivanka and Jared. Okay. Now, look at this. Well, okay. Her life, like for all the Trumps, the demon spawn of the Yeti, I refuse to call them children. They're middle-aged people. They're corrupt in their own right. They deserve to be called adults. So I'm here calling them adults. She has to decide. Finally, I think she's pulled away further and further and further from the Yeti, but she's going to have to make a major and critical decision, whether that's giving testimony against her father or something really big in her life. In the past position here, this is past attitudes. She lived a life of luxury. No news there. Her past actions, that was the attitudes, this is the actions. All about money, what it can buy, and confusing the power of money for an enduring legacy. She thinks that's all you have to do to have children, okay, is inundate them with expensive gifts and they'll grow up into good people. This is a myth, Ivanka. I'll do Jared on top of this in a moment because he's turned up. Jared being the false knight. I don't think it means he was the false knight of Ivanka. I think he was the false knight to himself and certainly to America. We forget because so much has happened every day in the last 4 or 5 years. The back channels to Russia, the deals with the Saudis on all sorts of things, including America. I don't understand. There's now a new $650 million arms deal with the Saudis. And I think he might have had something to do with that. These are the ones who actually destroyed the World Trade Center, 15 Saudis out of the 19 hijackers, and America's doing business with them. But Jared has weaseled his way in to somehow benefit from this deal, is my vibe on this. Coming out, what they're doing right now is this is the card of satiety. It's almost like debauchery I don't mean sexually, I just mean the overindulged lifestyle here. The Magnus or the magician. So they still have power, way too much power and way too many options. So a little look at Jared himself and them as a couple. I want to know, are they going to leave America? Are they going to leave America? Jared and Ivanka. Oh, I just heard they've split. In other words, in their private lives. Train tracks. Not enormously surprised there. Are they going to learn? Oh. Look, things are going to become very pointy. They've got lots of swords. They've got the 10 of swords. This is them trying to outrun all the legal cases. Taking what they've got in the form of gain, this card's called gain in the Thoth deck, and running interference. Now, you wouldn't want to rely on either of these people in terms of trusting them. You know what I mean? So this is running interference. So I didn't get a response per se, would they leave the country? But I did get that they're at a tipping point. They're absolutely at a tipping point. If they don't go soon, they might not be able to get out, for example. And whether they are going to give up others, which in Ivanka's case would mean her brothers, if not her father. So they feel they're hard done by. Don't you love that? You know, like they had nothing to do with it. They feel they're hard done by. Oh, surely. Now, I saw in a case during the week in Texas, everything's turning up Texas today. A guy was found to have conducted a Ponzi scheme, ripping off elderly or senior citizens and taking their money. He got 3 life sentences. The American sentencing system is really bizarre, but he got 3 life sentences for a Ponzi scheme. And I'm very sorry for those who were caught up in it, but 3 life sentences. So you have to hope that there's some sort of precedent there for the Trumps. But they do have, you know, this star sort of over them going, not yet, not yet. So we have to be patient. do we not, intrepid viewers? Now, let's have a look. The other one I wanted to look at was Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert. If you want to have a good laugh, check out Trey Crowder, the liberal redneck, on Lauren Boebert. It's hilarious. It's very short, couple of minutes. What is she going to be caught up, properly caught up in this January 6th inquiry? What was her role? What was she doing in it? What was she doing in it? Will she be caught out? All right. Is she weird or what? Let's have a look. The Wheel of Fortune is calling. Oh, Jesus. All right. Now, for some reason that I truly do not understand, she got elected, right? In the first place. So to a certain extent, she rose from obscurity to a star within her little world. It was a big leap up. It's a bit like Kirsten Sinema, like that, right? Just amazing that she got elected. However, the Wheel of Fortune is turning, and turning quite quickly for her. Look at these. The problem for Lauren Boebert is she's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and I think she will be, to a certain extent, sacrificed for someone else, one of the men, who are going to say it was her, not me. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're going to turn on Lauren and dump a lot of the responsibility for things that happened on her, because she went out and said these things while they were doing it in the back room. And things are happening very quickly for her. Right. Okay, doesn't look marvelous, you'd have to say, for Lauren. But now, what about you guys? So I want to see here. What do you guys need to know to keep you sane and functioning and prospering and looking after yourselves while all this is unfolding? So I think we need a little bit of guidance and inspiration here, do we not, intrepid viewers? Let's have a look. This is about you guys. What's the most useful thing for you guys to know just for this week, just to get through? It's a week at a time, day at a time stuff, isn't it? What do the intrepid viewers need to know? Oh, I gave them a good shuffle. This is my Best of America card. Lauren Boebert just got it in the other context, which she became a star in her own lunchtime. But this is for you guys. How beautiful is that? Just gorgeous. Oh, don't panic. Don't panic. This is gorgeous. So, Angel of Temperance, which I'll come back to in a sec. This is feeling out in the cold. This is 5 years of frustration. And it's looking at the struggle, the sheer struggle, the weight of having to worry about what is happening. It was right underneath this, you know, feeling that you were losing your country, you know. So that is very reaffirming, and I love this angel. Keep balance in your everyday life. Please, please keep the balance. So that means stepping outside of all the bad news and reminding yourself of positive things, however small, in your own life and in your community. And this is the card for me that's important. With this Page of Wands, this used to be my Obama card. Oh, those were the days. No drama, Obama. Oh. And this is trust your own voice. Now, if you're a blue dot and a red C and you can't speak up in your community because they're all crazy and they've gone to the other side, you can still do this online. It's really important to talk, and everyone's voice, and particularly young people's voices, but everyone's voice of sanity and optimism is important. This will be very, very important for you this week. So, darlings, just remember this, okay? Take care, look after yourselves, and I'll be back in a flash. Okay, I won't leave it so long next time. Bye.